What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. So we got some big news here, including Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Take a look here. Yeah, Fulton County grand jury recommends charges against Republican Senator Lindsey Graham and Georgia senators coming here today. Yeah, so this could be a problem for them. This comes after a Fulton County grand jury suggested charges for a more sweeping group of former President Donald Trump's allies, including 3 U.S. senators, as it evaluated charges recommended for those involved with U.S. election interference after he lost the 2020 contest. Included among the list of recommended indictments were two former U.S. senators from Georgia who ran for the re-election in 2020, former Senator David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, as well as Republican Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina and Georgia Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. The report, released in full Friday after a failed effort from Trump to bar its sharing, details the May charging recommendations from a group of 22 jurors tasked with hearing evidence in the case. After the report was partially released in February, the foreperson of the grand jury made news by suggesting it would include few surprises. The 28-page report in many ways aligns with the indictment filed by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who brought charges against Trump and 18 co-defendants. But it includes some notable deviations, including recommended charges for Trump-aligned attorney Cleta Mitchell and for Michael Flynn, who briefly served as Trump's national security advisor. Neither was ultimately included in the August indictment. The grand jury also recommended charges for Boris Epshteyn, a longtime aide for Trump, who was not charged by Willis but is listed as a not yet indicted co-conspirator in the federal January 6th case. Graham, Loeffler, Perdue, and Flynn all face recommended charges with, quote, respect to the national effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election. 13 grand jurors voted to recommend indicting Graham, while 7 voted no and 1 abstained. They voted 17-4 to recommend indicting Perdue and 14-6 for Loeffler. Lindsey Graham, who gave testimony before the grand jury, only appeared after he was ordered by the courts to do so in a legal battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court. As you can see, we're getting more and more of these legal battles that are going to be going on here for quite some time. The elections are still a year and 2 months away. You guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comment section. We have a Republican plan that would make potentially 52 members of Congress ineligible to serve based on a new age limit for Congress if it were to pass. This also comes here as more than half of Democrats are concerned about President Biden's age, according to a poll. This comes here as more and more, it seems like, people in Congress and President Biden and former President Donald Trump, either of them would be the oldest president ever if either of them is elected as the next president. Yeah. So, take a look at this new Republican plan that would make 52 members of Congress ineligible to serve. Let me know your thoughts on this. Michigan Representative John James has introduced legislation that would amend the Constitution and prevent somebody from running for office, quote, if at any time during the term the person will be 75 years of age or older. The resolution comes amid a wave of scrutiny on both sides of the aisle of some lawmakers and their ages. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who is 81, has been a senator since 1985 and has had 2 speech freezing episodes in the past 2 months. Democrat Dianne Feinstein, who is 90, was elected in 1992, has also been a focus of concern about her health and has faced a calls to step aside. Yeah, also shockingly enough, Dianne Feinstein gave her daughter power of attorney. Yeah, but it's just this is absolutely mind blowing here. Take a look at this. Yeah, Senator Dianne Feinstein, Democrat from California, says she decided to give her daughter power of attorney over her legal affairs, but she's still voting for the country. So she gave her daughter power of attorney over her legal affairs, but yet she's still voting for the entire country. Yeah, figure that one out. And at age 80, President Biden is already the oldest sitting president. He will be 82 if he takes office after winning a second term in 2024 and 86 when that term ends. In polling, Democrats have expressed worries about his age and cite it as a top concern. Former President Donald Trump, who is about, it depends on the current state in the year, because he's 3 years and some months, 3 years though, younger than President Biden. If he's elected to the next president, he will be older than when Biden was elected to this current presidency. So he will be older than when Biden started his presidency this term, if that makes sense. So, yeah, both Trump will be, let me see here. Trump is now, let me see here. So Trump is 77. His birthday's in June. So fast forward a year, he'll be 78 when he's elected, if he were to be elected. And then fast forward 4 more years, he would be 82 if he were to be elected and end the presidency. He would be 82 years old. Yeah. So if if this particular bill were to be enacted, which it probably won't, because it would um, disqualify Biden and Trump, and I don't think that they would, because I don't think that both parties would want to disqualify their current frontrunners. It would disqualify Trump and Biden. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but it says here, if at any time any person would be 75 years of age or older, they would be disqualified. Quote, this bill is a signal that John thinks it's time for a new generation to take the reins out of our federal government. It doesn't matter the party. We have a generation of younger leaders ready to serve. It's time. We all know it. And John's introducing legislation on it. Look at the stats. I think the overwhelming majority of Americans are ready for a fresh meat at the federal level. I would think that a lot of Dems would be in support of this legislation. The world's not getting slower, it's getting faster. The world's not getting safer, it's getting more dangerous. The world's not getting any younger, and we have a lower bound. It just makes sense to have an upper bound. He specifically mentioned Feinstein and Mitch McConnell and Biden, saying you can't watch a video and tell me everything's okay. He said the nation's adversaries are watching this as a weakness, that America has lost a step. There are 36 members of the House and 16 members of the Senate who are at least 75 years or older and would be disqualified from serving if James's proposed legislation becomes law. Of these House members, 15 are 80 years or older. Wow. You can let me know your thoughts. And we've seen what happened with Mitch McConnell, where he's just there and he can't even answer questions. And here's the thing, it's like everybody says they're fine, they're okay, that they're better than everybody else, and they're smarter than everybody else, and it's not them. They're always the ones that are okay, and until they're not, until they're not. And you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. It's always they're okay until they're not. Should people be allowed to be in Congress when they're above 75, when they're above 80, when they're in their 80s? And the same thing, we have Dianne Feinstein, who's 90 now, and says she's not giving up her seat. She's been elected. Too bad. She's not giving up her seat. She's 90. She's 90. Yeah, and same thing with Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell says, too bad. He was reelected. He's not giving up his seat. Too bad. In fact, when he was asked about when he did his second freeze, he was being asked about running for reelection next time. Next time. And if you know anything about Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi, they get reelected by a landslide. I hate to say this, but Mitch McConnell or Nancy Pelosi could probably run for reelection again and get reelected again. This is how wild the world is. These people in their districts, because they're Republican or Democrat districts, or yeah, districts, they're not going to vote for the other party. They see the other party as the devil, or I would never vote the other way, right? You got these real Republican districts or these real Democratic districts. They would never vote for the other party. If Nancy or if Mitch were to run again, they would probably get reelected no matter how old they are. I mean, look at Dianne Feinstein, who was 90 years old and was reelected. This is the problem, guys. So, like a law like this, if it weren't enacted, these guys get reelected until they're 1 foot in the grave. Yeah. So, and this is the other problem with this is Supreme Court justices. They're the same way. They're there until they literally die, or they choose to retire. And a lot of them don't choose to retire until they're forced to from a scandal, or they actually want to retire. They actually want to retire, and a lot of them don't until they die. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But I actually think something like this would be a common sense thing. But the problem is to pass it, Congress has to pass it. They have to vote themselves out, essentially. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date. If you haven't yet, click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. I'm just here to tell you guys the truth. Yeah, thanks for liking and sharing. Click here to see the new mandates and closures that are happening here right now, which is absolutely wild. Or click here to see the new what is happening at Walmarts across the country right now. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.